The world has never been louder. And yet, most men have never felt more empty. Screens glow like false suns. Voices compete to be heard. Every thought is interrupted before it has the chance to become real. You weren't born this way. Your mind once had shape, edges, depth, certainty. But the modern world does not want strong minds. It wants minds that are busy. There is a quiet war happening inside you. Not a war of swords, but of fragments. Your attention is pulled apart, one notification, one urge, one instant hit of pleasure at a time. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your spirit grows weaker. But in the old world, there was a discipline for this, a way of training the mind to remain whole, even when surrounded by chaos. It was called Zanshin, the remaining mind, the awareness that continues after the arrow has flown, after the action is complete, after the world tries to pull you back into sleep. This is the discipline that made warriors unshakable, that allowed a man to act with clarity while others panicked, that forged presence sharper than any blade. And now, it is needed again. If something in you remembers who you once were, stay and walk with us. He did not notice when it began. No one ever does. At first, it was just convenience. The buzzing phone, the open tabs, the quick dopamine hit of scrolling through lives that were not his. But slowly, like water carving stone, his attention weakened. He could not finish a page of a book. He could not sit with a thought long enough for it to become an idea. He moved through the day as if pulled by invisible threads, reacting, never choosing. He blamed himself for weakness, for laziness, for a lack of discipline. But the truth was simpler and more frightening. He had trained his mind to be shattered, piece by piece, notification by notification, 1,000 micro-abandonments of his own will. One night he looked in the mirror and did not recognize the eyes staring back. He tried to fix it the way most men do, with desperation dressed as effort. He bought planners, set alarms, downloaded productivity tools. He listened to loud motivational speeches that echoed like thunder but faded like smoke. For a few hours, even a few days, he moved with force. But force is not focus. Force is the last breath of a drowning man. Each attempt collapsed the moment a new distraction called his name. A message, a video, a thought he could not resist. His mind had become like an open door in a storm. Everything entered. Nothing stayed. And then one morning, in a crowded cafe, he noticed someone sitting across the room. Older, still, calm in a way that felt almost unnatural, like a candle flame that does not flicker. The man's presence was louder than the noise around him. Their eyes met. A lesson had already begun. The mentor did not speak when they met. He simply stood, and the young man followed, though he did not know why. They walked beyond the town, past the temples and the winding stone paths, until the world grew quiet enough to hear the earth breathing. A bamboo grove waited there, tall, still, gently swaying as if moved by something deeper than wind. The mentor stopped. He pointed to a single stalk. "Watch." The student watched. At first, he saw nothing. Just a plant. Just movement. But minutes passed, and in the silence, something changed. The bamboo did not fight the wind. It did not stiffen. It bowed and returned. Bent and rose. Held tension without shattering. The mentor finally spoke, voice low like a memory. Strength is not rigidity. Strength is the ability to remain. The student felt something inside him tighten, a discomfort he could not name. He had always imagined strength as hardness, force, unyielding will. Yet here was something that survived precisely because it did not resist. The mentor knelt and placed 2 fingers against the bamboo's surface. "Focus is not squeezing your mind until it obeys," he said. "It is learning to align your mind with your intention. without struggle. The student tried to mimic the bamboo, to breathe deeply, to let go, to remain. But his thoughts scattered again. Tasks to do, people to reply to, the itch to check his phone, though it was not even with him. The mentor noticed. "You have fed your mind hunger," he said, "and now it believes hunger is its nature." A silence followed, sharp, revealing. "Tomorrow," the mentor said, turning away, "you will meet your real enemy." At dawn, the mentor led him not to the bamboo grove, but to a small room with no windows. Only a floor, only silence, only himself. "Sit," the mentor said. The student sat. At first, it felt harmless, peaceful even, but soon the mind began to claw. A memory, a worry, a song stuck in his head. The urge to stand, to move, to escape. His breath grew tight. His chest felt heavy. His thoughts scattered like frightened birds exploding from the trees. The mentor watched without expression. "This," he said softly, "is the creature you have been feeding." The student realized it then. The enemy was not the phone, the noise, the world. The enemy was the part of him that could not bear to be alone. His own mind was addicted to escape. The mentor spoke again, but his voice was not unkind. "The mind learns from repetition, and you have rehearsed escape your entire life." The student swallowed hard. He could feel it now, a trembling animal inside him, pacing, scratching, begging for stimulation. It wasn't anger. It was fear. The fear of silence. The fear of meeting himself. The mentor placed a small bowl of water on the floor between them. Still, clear, untouched. "When the surface is disturbed," he said, "you cannot see your reflection. The water is not weak for moving, but only when it becomes still can you know its depth." The student stared at the bowl, at his distorted reflection, at the truth he had always avoided. His thoughts were not his masters, but they had been ruling him. The room felt tighter, the silence deeper. Something in him broke. Or perhaps something old finally surfaced. "Tomorrow," the mentor said, "you will learn how to remain in the silence you fear." They returned to the forest on a morning when the mist still clung to the earth like memory. The mentor carried a bow, old, smooth, worn by the hands of someone who did not need to prove anything. He stood before a lone target set between the bamboo, but he did not take aim. He breathed, slow, steady, as if even the air had to earn the right to enter him. His eyes softened, unfocused yet utterly aware. There was no tension in his shoulders, no anticipation, no hunger for the outcome. Then, with the smallest movement, the arrow flew. It struck clean, but the mentor did not watch it land. His gaze did not move. His body did not celebrate. The moment of impact was irrelevant. What mattered was the stillness that followed, the awareness that remained. The student felt a chill. He realized he had never once stayed with himself after finishing anything. The mentor lowered the bow and finally spoke. "You live only in the moment of doing. You strain, you push, you execute, but the instant the task is done, your mind flees. That is why nothing stays with you." The student felt the truth strike deeper than any arrow. He thought of every unfinished habit, every abandoned goal, every conversation where he listened only enough to reply, never enough to understand. His life had been a series of beginnings, with no presence left to seal the ending. The mentor poured tea, slowly, deliberately. No wasted movement, no rush. Even the steam seemed to rise in disciplined silence. "Zanshin," the mentor said, placing the cup before him, "is not how you act. It is how you remain after the action." The student lifted the cup, and for the first time, he tasted without rushing to swallow. Something subtle shifted. He was beginning to learn the art of staying. But presence is not yet mastery. The final test waits in Chapter 5. Something in him had shifted, not loudly, not dramatically, but in the quiet places where real change happens. He no longer rushed to speak. He no longer reached for his phone the moment silence entered the room. He no longer felt the frantic urgency to prove, to show, to perform. The world around him did not change. The noise was still loud. The temptations were still many. The distractions still pulled at the edges of his attention. But he had learned to remain. Now, when he walked, he walked. When he ate, he ate. When he listened, he heard. When he worked, he finished. Other people noticed before he did. Someone asked him once, "Why do you move like you have time?" He only smiled. Because he finally understood. The one who controls his attention controls his life. But mastery had one final test, one most men fail. The mentor watched him from a distance, not with pride, but with recognition. This was the moment where most students stopped. When discipline becomes comfortable, subtle ego begins to return wearing a new mask. I am better now. The mentor approached him one evening as dusk folded the world into shades of silver and ash. "You have learned to remain in calm waters," he said. "But the true warrior carries presence into the storm." The student's breath caught because he knew what was coming. Life would test him, not in the bamboo grove, not in the tea room, but out there, where the world pulls hardest. And it came sooner than expected. A message from the world he had left behind, a voice from his past, a temptation wrapped in familiarity, the kind that once owned him. His hand hovered, still, steady, but inside, something old began to stir. A question rose, quiet, heavy, impossible to ignore. Would he remain when the world tried to take him back? The story ends here with this truth. Focus is not something you achieve once. It is something you choose again and again and again. Focus is not something you do. It is someone you become.